To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
News team, assemble!
Joining us live because if you want to know anything about the Outer Banks, Sam Walker's the dude to fill you in.
The sea was angry that day, my friends. Like an old man trying to send back soup in a deli.
Always appreciate talking to you.
Always good stuff with Sam Walker in the Outer Banks.
Now here's Les Nessman and the news.
Hey, there you go. Got to turn the mic on. Good morning, everyone. It is OBX Today for Thursday, September the 16th, 2021. Glad you're along with us for another edition of OBX Today live here on Facebook and YouTube as we get you going on this Thursday morning. And let's get right to it. We got some rain to deal with again today, and our live shot there from Jeanette's Pier in Nags Head and South Nags Head. You can see some showers out offshore this morning. Same thing as we head down to Avon and also Hatteras Village. There's some rain hitting the lens there from surfchecks.com in Hatteras Village right now. So kind of a mixed bag of rain out there as this little pesky slow-moving weather system is over top of us. We're going to be dealing with showers off and on today at times on the beach. Mainland areas right now dry, but we flip over to a look at the latest radar for the National Weather Service. And quite a bit of shower and even some thunderstorm activity back off over western parts of North Carolina at the moment. And that is expected to continue through the day today. This is what's left of Nicholas. The center of Nicholas actually is back over here towards Alabama and Mississippi and Louisiana, but all the moisture from it streaming up from the Gulf this morning is down pretty much from there all the way across South Carolina and into North Carolina this morning. What we're seeing here is just related to a little bit of the moisture that's coming up from the Bahamas, interacting with a front that's coming across the northeast, and also the moisture coming up from Nicholas. So kind of a complex little weather pattern we got going on right now. Here is the latest from the National Hurricane Center. That was a 2 a.m. Let's refresh that because we should have the 8 a.m. Here's the 8 a.m. right now on the 5-day outlook from the National Hurricane Center. There's Nicholas right along the southwest, southeast, south coast of Louisiana. Here is our disturbance. That's between us and the Bahamas. It's about 250 miles southeast of us this morning. Just kind of a broad area of low pressure. It is expected to become more conducive for development, and a tropical depression is likely to form in the next day or two while the system moves northward and then northeastward off the coast. Could bring some high surf to portions of us, to the Outer Banks this week and into the weekend. So we do have a high risk of rip currents today for the beaches south of Oregon Inlet, and we've got a moderate risk for the north beaches. That was last night's forecast. Still same thing. Moderate from the state line down to Oregon Inlet, and then a high risk stay out of the ocean south of Oregon Inlet. So Pea Island, Verdanthe Wave, Salvo, Avon, Buxton, Frisco, Hatteras, and Ocracoke stay out of the ocean today. Not a good day to be in there. You can see there's a pretty good shore break going on there in Hatteras Village with the rain right now. Well, we switched back up to Avon. Not as much. You can see the rain coming down right now in Avon. It doesn't look all that bad right now, but there is a good bit of a cross current that's set up now. We got some southerly winds, so that's why we got the high risk. And then we go back up to Jeanette's Pier. And again, not much to look at, but it's definitely getting, it's a pretty decent cross current going on. A longshore current happening there along all of our beaches. All right, we're going to blow this back out because we want to get the latest look. Here is our low that's out between us and the Bahamas. If you can see up, let me blow this out even bigger just because trying to look at it on the map. And let me have to go down to the bug here. And you can see, all right, so there is Cape Fear right there. There's South Carolina. There's Wilmington. And so about 250 miles is the center of this broad low-pressure system. And it is just sitting out there kind of getting itself better organized. Here's another look from Tropical Tidbits this morning of it. And the current models right now for what's left of this show it just staying as barely, if it even gets to tropical depression strength over the next 2 days. It's going to have a hard time doing that. Not expecting much. This is the GEPS models right now. It really doesn't get any stronger until it gets way up off of Maine and then the Maritimes, possibly becoming a hurricane eventually. Just kind of, and there's a lot of disagreement, as you can see, as to what it's going to do after it gets up north. We're going to be dealing with the waves from this probably at least into the weekend. No matter what it does, it's going to be just enough to get our rip current risk up. Not going to be a decent day, a decent couple of days of swimming, maybe some surf out of this. Not a lot of rideable stuff, though, most likely out of 96L or whatever's going to become tropical depression. I think it's 15. Odette's the next name on the list, then Peter. And those are the next names that are on our tropical cyclone list. All right, 95L, which we're watching. We'll go back to what we're looking at two other areas here out off. There's a wave that's just coming off of Africa. That looks like it's not going to be much of anything. This wave here that's still kind of about not even halfway across the Atlantic. Still a lot of question marks what it's going to do. The models, because it's moving so slowly, there's a lot of disagreement as to what that will eventually do. It looks like it's going to at least get to the leewards and get into the Lesser Antilles and the Greater Antilles. It's just a lot of disagreement right now what this thing's going to do at this point. So slow moving. If it intensifies, and the intensification is not expected to be at all that rapid, as long as it stays kind of weak, it's going to continue to kind of just drift its way across the Atlantic and then get out here where we start getting a little concerned about it in the next week. So probably this time, maybe even next weekend, really, when we're going to have a better, I'd say by the end of this weekend and the first part of next week, we'll have a little better idea what this thing's going to do. But right now, not much agreement as to what's going to happen with 95L as it continues to make its way across the Atlantic. So there's the latest on the tropics. And we'll, of course, keep an eye on things. But really what our big threat's going to be for the next couple of days is going to be the rip current threat from 96L, when eventually may become tropical depression in the next day or so. All right. Some of our other headlines we got for you this morning at obxtoday.com. Yesterday, Dare County putting out a video to respond to some of the concerns that have been expressed to them at Dare County Commissioners meetings and also on social media about the continuing problem with available housing options in Dare County and all throughout the Outer Banks. As there are some recent developments that have been occurring with the affordable housing situation. As we get through, just getting some models sent to us, basically what we just showed you. All right. But let's go back to this. We've got the video up at obxtoday.com. This is part of the Destination Dare series that you can see on Current TV, and you can see it on the Dare County and Current TV YouTube channels. We've got the story up at obxtoday.com. In the video, it highlights some of the efforts currently being made by the Dare County Board of Commissioners regarding the essential and workforce housing units, possibly. There is a provision in the state budget that's being considered by the General Assembly of $40 million. That provision is expected to get in the budget. Now, will we get a budget? We don't know. It could be the end of this month. It looks like more likely it's going to be October before the legislature can agree on things, send something to the governor, and will even Governor Cooper sign it? That's a big question mark. If that doesn't happen in the budget itself, then there's probably going to be a chance what we've seen over the last couple of legislative sessions where the General Assembly passes mini budgets that address each different individual department of state government, as well as spending that goes down to local counties. Again, there's a $40 million provision that has been put in the state budget. So here's that video right now. Again, this was posted up yesterday and is available. You can watch it at obxtoday.com. And I thought, hey, you know what? We'll play it for you right now here on OBX Today Live here on Facebook and YouTube.
Housing shortage equals employee shortage. The thing is, it won't be able to handle the influx of tourism much longer.
What I can't understand is why this problem hasn't been ironed out by now.
You're lucky if someone from local government will read this and agree with what you wrote.
Unfortunately, this is a tort. What about the empty county isn't going to have businesses? Affordable housing is a huge issue Dare County needs to face.
We've heard your concerns about the current housing crisis in Dare County, and we want you to know that we are listening and we want to help. Whether you're an applicant who's looking for a place to live, or you're an employer whose business is seriously understaffed because your employees can't find anywhere in the area to live, we recognize the serious challenges that many people are facing due to the lack of housing here in Dare County. And we want you to know that we're not just aware of the problem, we have been working diligently to help find a solution to the issues that the members of our essential workforce face when it comes to securing a place to live while they perform the many important and very necessary services that our residents and visitors all rely on here on the Outer Banks.
In Dare County, our primary issues with the housing market are that there's not enough housing stock available to meet the demand for the workforce. It's so much more economical to rent your house on a weekly basis, but it's shutting down opportunities for our workforce to find a place to live easily. In 2019, we met a group called DFI, which is the Development Finance Initiative. And that's an agency whose job it is to work with local governments to put together essential housing projects in their communities. They recommended that we do some kind of a community survey. What we found was we need around 1,800 units to meet housing needs. Counties can't just go out and build an apartment building. We don't have the authority to do that and start charging rent and operating it. In order for the county to build affordable housing, we have to have an affordable component. That's something under market rate rents. This is often done with LIHTC financing, and it is to incentivize developers to come in and build projects. And so DFI goes out and looks for sites that are LIHTC eligible. And there are only a few sites in Dare County that qualify for that. Most of them are not in the county, they're in the towns. All the towns are in the county doesn't have jurisdiction to do certain things in towns. And so Dare County can't mandate a town to allow a project that doesn't meet its current zoning. I've talked with some of the town leaders about those sites, and each town was amenable to trying to find a way to make them work. So we're very hopeful, and the towns, they've been good partners in many other things that we do together. We're confident that they'll be good partners in trying to solve this problem as well. In Dare County, something like 85% of the land is either owned by the federal or the state government and is not developable. It has to meet some criteria for us, and so with the parcels that we have now, we're going to try to see what we can do to make them work. We have two sites in Dare County. The Bowsertown site is property that we own that we're prepared to donate free into a housing project. And we have a developer who is interested, who's made a proposal. We also have a project at the Elizabethan Inn. We hope to have something in the works with a plan by the first of the year so we can really start doing something and get a project under construction so that people will see that it can be done. And hopefully that'll encourage others to do it. Our board recognizes this as a problem, and our board is pushing us hard, pushing DFI hard to do something and get it done now. That we can't wait, we can't mess around, and so we've got this on the fastest possible timeline that we can because we understand it's a problem, and we understand it's a serious problem, and so it's going to take a community-wide effort. These two projects that we're talking about will show people that it can be done and can be done well, and will be the catalyst, we hope, for multiple more units in the future.
Yes, there's a video again from Dare County regarding the latest developments they've had with regards to trying to address this affordable housing issue. And again, as County Manager Bobby Outen brought up, first of the year when they're talking about the Elizabethan Inn property. And that was interesting. They showed several of the sites that people have talked about, the old Kmart in Killable Hills, the Elizabethan Inn, which is what they're working with the owners of that property now. But a lot of what they're talking about is going to require money, and that's where that $40 million investment that the state is willing to put up, depending on if it gets through the state budget, will be the catalyst for getting that effort going. So that's a story that we will follow closely and keep you up to date with at obxtoday.com. All right, latest on COVID-19, rolling 7-day average of cases reported in North Carolina going up still, 7,277 infections reported yesterday, another 100 virus-related deaths in the last 24 hours, and 1 in 500 Americans have died from coronavirus since the nation's first reported infection, that according to Johns Hopkins University with their latest statistics. The story that News and Observer's got this morning and several outlets have is what's going on between in Union County, which is east of Charlotte. That is Monroe and Wingate and those towns there in Union County. The Union County School Board is talking about rescinding a new policy that eliminates COVID-19 quarantine measures for most students and staff by 5 p.m. Friday, or legal action may be required to protect the public's health. That's according to Dr. Mandy Cohen in a letter to Union County. Yesterday, the Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services sent, urging the Board of Education in Union County to follow required policies for quarantining, isolating, and excluding students, teachers, and staff who've either tested positive for COVID-19 or have been exposed to COVID-19, and that they are giving them until Friday at 5 p.m. to rescind their new policy that eliminates the quarantine measures. We'll see what happens with that over the next couple of days, and that could have wide-ranging impact whether other counties that have, for the most part, either implemented mask mandates. Just about all the counties, schools, and systems have, but Union County has been pushing back against this. Harnett County says they're going to lift their mask mandate the first week of October. Some other counties may start to push back as well with regards to mask mandates and the quarantining measures that are required by the state for schools. This is going to turn into a test case with Union County. The state has begun deploying monoclonal antibody clinics at more areas now. A lot of hospitals have offered this for quite a while. I had this treatment back in February after I was diagnosed with COVID-19, tested positive back in February. The next day after getting the test result back, the Outer Banks Hospital called and said they have this. They are offering it because I was considered in an at-risk group because of, I got the radio body, the dad bod, among other things. And so these have been available. This is just making it more widespread. The state's gotten involved. We're starting to see these clinics pop up around the state. One of those opened up in Smithfield in the parking lot of the Johnston County Public Health Department. And there has been help from FEMA. About a half dozen of these opening around North Carolina. Haven't seen exactly if we're going to get one out here in the Northeast or not of one of these. Let's see. We'll see if they have that up as we talk about it. But the treatment, I'll admit it worked because tested positive, got this treatment right after it, recovered, didn't have the bad after effects or bad effects from COVID-19 that could have had. Got vaccinated in June, and then we had another case here at our home where my wife tested positive. She was vaccinated, so she's a breakthrough case. I did not test positive. I was tested negative for COVID-19. So it looks like what they call it is a superhuman situation, and or they call it superhumans, where you've had COVID-19, had the antibody treatment, and been vaccinated. Test case didn't happen. Did not have a breakthrough case. So they haven't listed where these clinics are available. Well, I guess there is a Find COVID-19 antibody treatment site. Okay, so there is if you go to the state's COVID-19 website, there is a way to find it. Actually, it's through called infusioncenter.org. Has that information available. All right, moving on here. New report out from the state shows how many of North Carolina's public employee departments had the highest and lowest vaccination rates so far. The Office of State Human Resources reports 62% of all adults in the state are fully vaccinated. That includes those aged 65 and older, a group that carries a high vaccination rate overall, but represents a small part of the workforce. The state's data is based on about 59,000 permanent and temporary workers currently employed by what's called cabinet agencies. Those are transportation, health and human services, all the ones that have secretaries, labor, all the different departments that fall on the governor. The Department of Environmental Quality is at 81% vaccination rate. The OSHR, the Office of State Budget, or rather OSHR, had an 85%. Department of Environment Quality and Department of Administration both checked in at 81%. Going through the list, Military and Veterans Affairs at 82%. The Office of State Budget and Management, that's 91%. Department of Transportation, only 60%. Public Safety at 53%. And that includes Highway Patrol, State Bureau of Investigation. Actually, I'm sorry, they're at 77%. The SBI falls under a different category. And Public Safety's Highway Patrol, Prison Guards, 53%. Transportation at 60%. Department of Revenue at 79%. So interesting to see those numbers. All right, back to some local stories now. Yesterday, speed limits went back up on parts of Highway 12. This normally happens on the 15th of September. All the Hatteras Island villages where it was 35 back to 45. In Rodanthe Way, Salvo, Avon, and Frisco. The speed limit between Avon and Buxton went up to 55, as well as between Frisco and Hatteras Village. Now through Buxton, it stays at 25 and 35 throughout the year. The same thing goes on in parts of Corolla, Southern Shores, and Duck. Speed limit goes back up on the 15th. But and then goes back down on May the 15th. So DOT was out yesterday. Story our pals over at ocracokeobserver.com have this morning. The new departure schedules for the Swan Quarter route, which started on Tuesday, have thrown a little bit of a loop into some folks' plans, mainly those who live on Ocracoke, and took advantage of that 7 a.m. run to be able to go to the mainland and go to the doctor, go to stuff in the county, since Hyde County, of course, the county seat is in Swan Quarter. If they had jury duty, other things like that, going over to the mainland on the 7 a.m. run, and then being able to get back on the 2 o'clock ferry that comes back from Swan Quarter and get home, before day. Well, there was still daylight. And Connie Linebox got a story up at ocracokeobserver.com about some of what the schedule change has meant. So now the schedule leaving Ocracoke is at 10 a.m., 1:30, and 6:30. But with that elimination of the 7 a.m. departure, that means errands and going to the doctor and Little Washington have to scramble. Monroe Gaskell learned about the change Monday. He hauls sand and gravel, goes to Bellhaven, go to Bellhaven on a 7 a.m. run, then get off, come back on the 2 o'clock, and he still have time to get some of that out to his customers. With the new schedule, he said he returns in the dark, not able to spread his product right away. He's going to wait for the next day. Celeste Brooks, who's the Ocracoke postmaster, noted all of her doctors are in Washington. She could get the 7 a.m. ferry, get to a doctor's appointment, go to the store, and get back in time to catch the 4:30 run. Now she says she has to go over the day before, which takes more time, although she does have somewhere to stay. And that's going to probably mean folks are going to have to spring for a motel room that live on Ocracoke. There's the other alternative, which is take one of the early ferries to Hatteras and then drive to Manio, adding an extra 64 miles to the trip. Tim Haas at Ferry Division told the Ocracoke Observer the biggest reason for the schedule change is due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Since Dorian, the crews for the early run to Swan Quarter have been housed together in small campers. And because of the spread of COVID-19, they're no longer able to do that. Not able to put so many people in such tight quarters safely. So those crews are now staying in Swan Quarter and then coming over on a 7 a.m. departure from Swan Quarter, then taking a 10 o'clock back. So rather than having the first run of the day on the Swan Quarter route coming from Ocracoke, it's vice versa. But that's just temporary. They said that work on the Ocracoke dormitory and the ferry office, which were flooded by Hurricane Dorian, is expected to only began in the last few months, not expected to be completed until January or February. So it looks like it's going to be the winter before they're going to be able to get that 7 a.m. run back, at least right now. Haas did say that they're working with the Superior Court, the clerk's court office, to possibly make special arrangements on dates when jurors from Ocracoke are needed for duty. There may be 6 times they do that this winter, and that they would make some special ferry run considerations for that. So anyway, the story up at at ocracokeobserver.com regarding what that 7 a.m. ferry run change, not having that, is going to do for the folks in Ocracoke. Yesterday, with being the 15th, not only did the speed limits go up on Highway 12, that also meant that night driving on the beaches of Cape Hatteras National Seashore can resume where there's no sea turtle nest. So some of the ramps have reopened for night driving. Others will reopen in the next couple of weeks as the nests nearby hatch. Also, the new numbers are out as far as visitation for August in Cape Hatteras National Seashore, 427,384 visits last month. Makes it the busiest August since 2002 and keeps America's first national seashore on pace to set a new record for attendance. It's the busiest start they've ever had since they started tracking the numbers. The Park Service determines the number of visits based on a formula derived for the number of vehicles that drive through Whalebone Junction, and also those that travel on the ferries from Cedar Island and Swan Quarter. Night driving's back. You can check out the details on that if you go to recreation.gov to get your ORV permit. Go to the National Park Service website, and then it's nps.gov/beach access takes you right to it. You can get the latest ramp openings and closings that are open at night since the fall fishing season is going to start up, and that's going to be what we want. All right, let's see. Winding things down here on OBX today. Not sure I can pull up the SpaceX. We haven't got any video yet, but if you were out last night and you saw something flying through the sky around 8 o'clock last night, I still have yet to see these. I was looking the wrong direction, I'll admit. I was looking out front of I was looking towards Corolla, not looking down the Sound. But a lot of folks caught this last night. We got quite a few submissions on our Facebook. And shout out to Daryl Law, who texted me right after they got it. He was hanging out with a friend of his, Barry Clark from Charlottesville. They were were out on the porch at his vacation cottage there in Avalon and saw the SpaceX launch. And let me throw that up there for you if you didn't catch it. I don't want that. I'm turn that off. Okay, there you go. Here's just a quick image that Barry Clark captured from where he was staying last night in Killable Hills. And that was the launch of the first all-civilian flight into orbit. For folks, it's a charter flight via SpaceX. And they launched last night at 8 o'clock. So if you saw that, looked like almost like a spotlight in the sky moving, that's what it was the SpaceX launch last night out of Cape Canaveral. And very, very good views. And we've got a lot of folks who submitted stuff to us on our Facebook page. If you scroll down the Facebook page, you're watching us there now live, you can see some pretty good shots that folks got of that launch. I'm a little disappointed in SpaceX how they're not providing live coverage throughout the mission like they have in the past. We're only getting updates now where they had the live coverage of the pre-launch and the launch, but then they turned it off and they're not fine. This is a 3-day mission, and it's I always keep this. That's kind of one of the things I keep up on my computer. Just a lot of background noise while I'm sitting there typing and working. I like to have that stuff up. So sometimes it's cool to have that. Well, they're not doing that. A little disappointed in that. Maybe they'll change that once people start complaining enough. All right. Let's move over to sports. Last night, got one high school football game because of the weather forecast and some other scheduling issues. Northeastern and First Flight played last night. This game was originally supposed to be at First Flight. They moved it up to Elizabeth City. Northeastern won 52-0. The rest of the high school football schedule is still on the schedule for tomorrow locally. High school soccer today, Ridgecroft is at Pungo Christian, Albemarle at Terracea. Full slate on the volleyball schedule. Cape Hatteras travels to Ocracoke. Manio is at Northeastern. Edenton at First Flight. Mattamuskeet hosts Eastern Christian Homeschool. Hertford County at Camden. Columbia at Beargrass Charter. Gates at Perquimans. East Carteret at Northside. Albemarle's at Terracea. Ridgecroft at Pungo Christian. Bertie at Northeast Prep. And Northeast Academy at Lawrence. That's the schedule for high school volleyball today. NFL week number 2 kicking off tonight. Giants at Washington. Sunday night is Kansas City, Baltimore, and Monday night's Detroit at Green Bay. The schedule, we've got the 506sports.com has got the TV listings out for what we're going to get this weekend. We got Vegas and Pittsburgh in the CBS early game. The late game will be Dallas and the Chargers. On Fox, we've got San Francisco, Philadelphia for the early afternoon, at least. And everybody's like, why? We're not getting Carolina, New Orleans. No, that's a reminder to you folks who come in. And why don't we get the Panthers? Because we're in the Norfolk TV market. That's just how it is. I'm trying to see if I can get this to zoom a little better. There it goes. Yeah. So you can see, because we're in the Norfolk TV market, we're getting, again, San Francisco, Philadelphia. The rest of the state gets Panthers and Saints on Fox. Of course, we can't pick up the Fox affiliate that's in Greenville anyway, whether you have cable or whatever. And I say we as in Dare County and then everything north of the Albemarle Sound. Terrell and Hyde, if you have satellite service or me, YouTube TV, you're in the Greenville market. Don't ask me. It's just how the rules are written. It's just what they like to do with the TV stuff. All right, OBX Today Weather Center forecast for today. We're looking at a mixture of clouds and sun and showers at times, maybe some rumbles of thunder. High of 84. Northeast winds around 10 to 15 miles an hour. So we do have that onshore flow that is bringing us this increased chance of rip currents. Tonight, mostly cloudy, showers and storms around, a low 71, northeast winds 10 to 15. Friday, mostly cloudy, showers and storms possible, especially in the afternoon, and highs of 85 with north winds around 15 to 20. Friday night, cloudy and 70 with the north wind at 10 to 15, gusts to 20. Tropical depression, if it forms, pulling away, increasing that onshore flow. Saturday, partly sunny, maybe a shower storm in the afternoon, a high 84 with north winds around 10. Sunny and 85 Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday is going to be sunny and highs of 85. Coastal marine forecast for today. We talked about those east winds 5 to 10 knots, becoming northeast 10 to 15 knots this afternoon, 1 to 2 foot waves in the sounds. Small craft advisory pennants going up this evening. On the open waters with seas 3 to 5 feet. Again, can't stress it enough. Rip current risk is moderate. Corolla to Oregon Inlet. High from Oregon Inlet to Ocracoke. Water temperature still in the mid to upper 70s. Low tide coming up at Oregon Inlet at 10:52. Sunset tonight at 7:07. Sunrise tomorrow at 6:46. Currently with some scattered showers about. Depends on where you're at. 77 degrees at our studios in Uptown Nags Head. And that's going to do it for OBX Today for this Thursday, September the 16th, 2021. Thanks for joining us here on Facebook Live and on YouTube Live. As always, we'll catch you tomorrow morning. And, of course, anytime, if conditions warrant, we'll probably, maybe this afternoon, we'll do an update around 5 o'clock with what's going on with this depression. If it becomes something expected to become a tropical depression. Again, not going to make a landfall. We're just going to see rip currents and some waves out of this, all right? So have yourself a great Thursday, everybody. Stay dry out there, and we'll see you later.